Okay, it's live. Welcome to You Can Achieve Again. And I will not go, I will skip the introduction because we don't need any introduction anymore. Uh, Today, I will share the slide with you. Along with that, I will give you a mail ID, which is in the About section also. In the About section, you can find the mail ID. Whatever problem you face, you can just reach out, or that can be an introduction to reach out. You can just mail in the mail ID. You can tell that I want to talk, but maybe we need something. We need to find a place where we can talk in a very in a confidential way, or you want to have some suggestion. If depending on the priority or depending on the importance of the issue, we can do a communication. But today we will do media planning and buying and strategic media relations. I am just giving you an introduction today with a lot of insights. What I am not telling you is যেটা স্কুলে পড়া যায়, what you can read in the books, what you can learn in the schools, what they are teaching in the schools. In many places they are teaching all these things, tricks and techniques, toolkits, kits, and all that stuff. How do you write the format and the content, which we will do at the last. Till now, whatever you have studied, it is building up. Like, you are learning, you are understanding stuff, you are asking questions. Ask questions, it's very important, because nobody is projecting something on you, nobody is imposing something on you here. What you are doing is you are seeking, you are exploring, you are asking questions. If you don't understand something, maybe you can play a bit, you can ask the question, you can see it yourself, but don't take everything as it is, especially based on face value. That is what I would like to say. কেন আমি বলছি? বিকজ মিডিয়া প্ল্যানিং এন্ড বাইং এ, বিশেষ করে ইন্ডিয়াতে, I will talk about the Indian context, and it will be a very short session, maybe till 45 minutes I will do, and wherever I want to stop I will just stop it. And after 15th we will do another session if needed, যেখানে আমি মার্কেটিং এর সাথে আরেকটু বলে দেবো যে মার্কেটিং এর ব্রডার যে অ্যাসপেক্টটা আছে, where you have the 4 P's, 7 P's, the traditional 4 P's of marketing. I will talk about the modern 4 P's of marketing also, যেখানে people, process and all these people, এগুলো নিয়ে তো খুব আজকে কথা হচ্ছে, so we will talk about that also. তো ট্র্যাডিশনাল থাকছে, আমাদের মডার্ন থাকছে, আবার যদি আমি দেখি যে আমার 7 P's থাকছে, 4 P's থাকছে, কখন আমি চেঞ্জ করব। we will talk about পয়েন্ট অফ পারচেজ থাকছে, তারপরে আমার টাচ পয়েন্টস, কাস্টমার টাচ পয়েন্টস, সেটা একটা কিওস্কও হতে পারে, সেটা আমার প্যাকেজিংও হতে পারে, সেটা আমার সাপ্লাই চেনের এনি জায়গায় হতে পারে, ভ্যালু চেন, সাপ্লাই চেন, ডিমান্ড চেন। উই টকড অ্যাবাউট অল দোজ থিংস। নাও দ্য থিং ইজ, মিডিয়া প্ল্যানিং অ্যান্ড বাইং এ আমি একটু এক্সপিরিয়েন্সিয়াল ওয়েতে আজকে বলবো things that you don't learn in the schools. In the When you go to the schools, you don't learn all these things because nobody is talking about all these things. It comes out of solid research. How you can do the research? You go back to the communication research part or session, where we have, that's why we did it so long, because you will get a lot of tricks and techniques. Still you want to explore, you just go for a deep dive, and you can find the research analytics playlist. You find out the methodology, you choose your own methodology, you mix everything together, whatever is comfortable for you, qualitative, quantitative, a mix, communication mix, how you want to develop. You can play with it. That the way we are doing it, you understand the subject, you make your fundamentals very clear, you can ask the right question, pertinent questions. You can figure out a lot of stuff yourself, then the questions will be after that, so people will be very willing to answer those questions. They will be very happy that you are raising those questions. That kind of scenario, so you learn it here. It is not like that you have to stay with me and all that stuff. You learn it here, you can apply it somewhere else, right? You go to a seminar, you go to a meeting, you talk things, you talk about things, you talk about topics, you listen to topics, then you are thinking about all these things, pros, cons, whatever I am listening to, what is the science behind it, what is the art aspect of it, what is the science aspect of it, aesthetics, how aesthetics is trying to be a bit more than the art and science. So the art and science is there, but somebody is manipulating the aesthetics, or the not the aesthetics, because aesthetics is there, but yeah, they are manipulating using the dress or the makeup or the looks or whatever it is. So we will do a slide on that also. Flesh, looks, voice and dialogue, because voice and dialogue, this is not only acting, it's a part of acting. But you will see very soon, and as you go along the process of asking questions, as you go along the path asking pertinent questions, you will see that you will see there is a pattern, or there is a train going behind the back. Voice and uh, maybe casting is based on voice only, a bit of looks, and then people will think about the prosthetics, just a little bit of prosthetics, but you will see the essence is not there. These are the tricks that are going on, you will see that. And voice and dialogue, these are the two important things. Then I will tell you with a case study session where it is coming from, the kind of people who are actually creating it, what is the reason behind it, all these things, and then you can figure it out yourself. But you can understand a few things and you can figure out the rest. You don't need to know the entire thing, because it is not that fun also. It's very boring at times, but maybe initially it might seem very creative. So we will talk about all those things. So you learn the topics, you learn the fundamentals, you learn not like a bookish way. You're not cramming stuff, you're not cramming stuff, you're not just you know uh, you're not just using bookish definitions. You understand the terms, you see it around you, you see things happening, and then you can contribute to the literature also. The reason why I am doing this is, in India, sometimes advertisement is only the role play. People are just doing role play. Now, if a doctor cannot be a real doctor, fact and fiction, we will talk about that. Quickly, 7 minute হয়ে গেছে, quickly I will just go to the thing. Uh, Natural doctor, একটা normal doctor, professional doctor, but একজন সে যে doctor আছে, will you believe in all the things the doctor is saying? No. So somebody is not at all related to education. Maybe that person is totally anti-education, but that person is wearing an attire, dress, looks, voice, and dialogue they are using, and they are selling education. Gradually, you find out that person is totally based on corruption. But to make the black thing white, they are using and selling the brand as education and all that stuff. There are so many things, but they are trying to do a clash to make it right, to prove that somebody is right. So all these things are going on. The problem is these things are getting exported to other countries also. I mean, no sensible person will do that. If you really care for humanity, if you really care for education, no sensible person will do that. But this particular group of people, they are not doing it themselves in a gutter. I will show you. They are also exporting it to the wrong kind of export, because they are attached with the wrong kind of exports, maybe in other ways also. So you'll figure out that also. But it's about the mindset. So they're exporting the bad practices, the worst practices, if I say so. They are not able to learn the best practices. If you show them the best practices, they will argue with you, they will not accept you. Those are the things. So they don't belong to the sophisticated culture, they don't belong to the great workplace or the great workforce, but they want to disturb you. Disturbing element, they hamper the productivity, efficiency, effectiveness, if I say. But how they do that, that is very important. So I will give you very few hints, and you will figure out yourself. But why media planning and buying, and why strategic media relations? Because actually the thing is this. Now you are being sold this using these tools. Media planning and buying, you are spending money, you are giving your own money. You can be very arrogant about it because you are spending your own money at the cost of what? Who is incurring the cost? Society, individual, or who is incurring the cost? Because everyone in the chain might be incurring the cost. But if you talk about the pain points only, maybe people are thinking about, it's not altruism, it's about the pain points. But are you being deeply authentic? That's also a great part of it. So we will talk about all those things, you will understand. But strategic media relations, media planning and buying, when you are investing a lot of money in that, you're just making it right. It is not right, you are making it right. So this is the actual thing, and this is what you're being sold. So this is the actual value, this is the perceived value. Now how you are having or holding the perceived value for a long time, you're investing a lot with strategic media relations, with media planning and buying. So frequency, the time at which you are showing the advertisement, uh, কোনটার সাথে কোনটা, where you are placing the advertisement, all these things are very important. We will talk about it, the fundamentals of it. কোথায় আমি প্লেস করছি, কত duration, is it a 30-second commercial, it is a 10 seconds, it is a 20 seconds, what is it, and what is the reason for that? after what, in which like কোন সিরিয়ালটা হচ্ছে, প্রাইম টাইম 9টা 8টা না 7টা 6, দ্য টাইমিং ম্যাটার্স অলসো, কোন সিরিয়ালটা হচ্ছে কখন, বিকজ কেন, ইউ হ্যাভ টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড দিস থিংস উইল কাম আউট অফ রিসার্চ অ্যান্ড ইনসাইটস. Maybe that particular soap or that particular show or that particular serial is having a particular target group or a particular kind of audience, particular demographic, geographic, psychographic segmentation. If I do, uh, particular set of people or target audience is watching that. If you put something in there, maybe you can communicate. You are spending money, you have the money, it doesn't matter wherever or whichever way you got it, you have the money, so you are buying a spot, you're buying a slot. Duration maybe for few seconds, few minutes, depending on the slot, because it can be very costly also. So before something, after something, during something, in traditional media or in digital media, you are buying a slot using your money. But ultimately, what you are selling, that is the question you have to ask. Fact and fiction, the actual and the perceived. There is a gap. Why is the problem? If the gap is increasing due to these things, using these tools and techniques, then the society is suffering as a whole. So I will just come to that. Before that, if you haven't subscribed, quickly subscribe it. Then I will move to the session. It will be a very short session. I think at max it will be 45 to 50. 45 to 50. All right, অনেক কিছু বলার আছে. Let me just quickly show the presentation. একটু তাড়াতাড়ি যাব, but you can just go back and forth and you can just play it again and again and you can understand the things. Perception is a big part. So media and society, this is episode 7. Now perception is a big part, because perception, when we talk about perception, it's a perception building exercise only. Now when you are doing voice and dialogue and all the stuff and many other aspects like that, you're looking into specifics, not specifics, you're looking into the parts, subsets, it's not the entire set. So again, the subset is trying to be set, right? So you look at the thing, subset can be set where they're playing the game, because it's about the mindset. The mindset is like subset will be the set. Now they are using different tricks and techniques. This is one of the techniques. How you can do that? It can be mainly, when you look at it, you will see assumptions, interpretations, and connotations. These are three important words. Now I can talk about semiotics, I can talk about semantics, I have talked about uh, different theories and things, models, theories. I have created a lot of models myself, diagrams. I will show you a few models today if the time permits. But let's have a talk. Then I can show you the models and you will understand it in a better way. So maybe the world is there and there is a particular gutter. Now, gutter is not a bad thing, but few people are in the gutter and they want to keep other people in the gutter. So that's why they're imposing stuff. They're exporting the wrong kind of animals. They're not animals. They're exporting the wrong kind of stuff or thing to a very good place, a good society. So this is what they do, because it's like an invasion for them. The mindset is of invasion, subset to set invasion, and they want to rule using those tactics. So what do they do? Export will be in a bad way, corruption, smuggling, and all that stuff. So I'm just giving you different examples so you figure it out yourself. But assumptions, interpretations, connotations, selective and permutation, very important. Why? Because I'm talking about the mindset. Understand? I'm talking about the mindset, and if it is coming in the storytelling also, so you can accept and use that in the storytelling part also. It can create a great character. It can create a great situation or a conflict. The actor can get a lot of opportunity to play that role, but it is not something bad. You are just showing it. What you are showing, the entire narrative. Maybe that particular action is wrong. Maybe somebody is getting punished afterwards. maybe the conflict is getting resolution, going towards a resolution, or you are showing human experience, the suffering of it, the conflict. So that is the story, that is the narrative, and this is only one part of it. Now you cannot cherry pick that thing, and you cannot train people with that. So then you are actually hampering the society or humanity as a whole. So that's why assumption is very important, interpretation is very important, connotation is very important, connotations, because when you are using a word, especially I will talk about few games and few techniques using this session, because this is where they try to be creative. Now artists can have a different mindset. Even if you talk about cubism, Picasso was breaking things, George Braque, Picasso, they were breaking things and putting things in a different way, but it had art, a different kind of art. Many people didn't even understand that, but for some it looked great. Some people delved into the deeper aspects of it, and they understood it, right? Now when you're talking about the creative stuff, there is a process called brainstorming and all that stuff. They are using a lot of creative techniques, word games that can be very helpful when you are writing, when you are doing a lot of things, but that is not the entire thing. That is also part of it. Then you have to write, you have to understand the emotions, you have to have empathy, compassion, love. Those are the other things, but this is only one part of it. Why the problem is, maybe you are training, you are being brought up in a different way. The tip of the iceberg, when you are looking at it, it's line. Take any language, because if you respect one language, you will respect other languages also. And people who don't even respect their own language, they don't care about their language, maybe the language is based on lies, can be, they have that mindset because they are talking about all those things, they are reading all that stuff, so they are thinking everybody is same, they are trying to make everybody the same again. Back to the gutter, the entire world is speaking diversity, there are different languages, you are having great languages in different regions, you are speaking different languages with a lot of respect, self-esteem, if I say so, but they don't like their own language, they are just relating and bringing people down. So it's a different case study altogether, it's a different scenario altogether, understand that. Now there is a line or there is a sentence. Let's take English as an example, as a language. There is a word, there is a language, there is a line, there can be a phrase also. Now it can mean a lot of things. Now when you can be creative also, you can look at it, you can play with the words, still you cannot lose that human aspect of yourself, right? But when somebody is playing it for a bad purpose or a wrong purpose, they can do a lot of stuff using the assumption, interpretation, connotations, mocking things, mocking serious things, making fun of serious things, motivating the fringe, because fringe doesn't have a purpose in them. That particular group or that fringe, they don't have any purpose in their life. They are trained in such a way, they are taking instruction, they are following the instructions, and they have a lot of justification, rationalization. They are trained in that way. But if you have lived life, you have gathered some knowledge. If you have read books, if you have talked to people, you have gathered something, wisdom, knowledge. So even if you're doing something wrong, your conscience will tell you that maybe you are doing something wrong, right? This fringe, they don't have that. They want to make that nuisance happen. They want to make that mishap happen because that is giving them the motivation, right? You might want to stop it, they want to pursue it. That is the difference, and it's a big difference, because that's why they don't need to understand humanity, they don't need to understand all these aspects, even storytelling also. They are just taking everything and they are trying to make some propaganda, they are trying to put everything into their mold. That's what they are. So assumptions, interpretations, connotations, again, I can say one line, and this helps in direction and acting also. That's why I talk about all these things in that way. See, I will give you one hint and you will figure out. When a director is telling, reading between the lines, context, subtext, you reading the lines and reading between the lines, you are giving maybe one line of instruction, the actor is coming with 10 lines of like more content, more stuff, improvisation, so many other things you can do creatively. It's a great thing to have. It's a great process. And we learn so much from each other during that process. But in that mindset or that fringe or that particular mindset, they don't have that. They don't respect the process, they don't respect the thing. Ultimately, they, as far as I have seen, they look at the numbers. They distort the rankings. They distort the evaluation methods. They distort the money stuff. So they are looking at the number. Maybe reach. They are distorting the reach and all that stuff. And they are showing that whenever they have to blame, they will use all those things and they will resort to the numbers. Maybe reach. Maybe money. Whatever be the thing. But you will understand they are at the periphery or they are at the superficial level. Why? Because they are playing with the assumptions, they are playing with the interpretations, connotations. Maybe I am speaking of something, maybe I am telling you something. If you can relate to it, if you have gone through the process while writing or while doing acting or be it anything, any process, you can relate to it as a human being, as an actor, as an artist, as a creative person, as a human being also you can relate to it. But when you disrespect it, when you don't want, you haven't gone through it, you disrespect it, you hate it, you want to distort it, you want to manipulate it, you want to do all those tricks and techniques, superficial tricks and techniques, then you can have a lot of option. I can tell something. It can be like Chinese whispers, depending on something else. Somebody it when I am speaking of something, when I am telling something, it will go through 10 people. Perceptions multiplied, superstition, blind faith, all these things multiplied, and it can be something really different or totally different when it reaches the 10th person, right? Maybe some people are doing it intentionally in the chain. So ultimately, you will come back to me with a clash, with a conflict, and they will enjoy the conflict also. But if you have gone beyond the verbal communication, non-verbal communication, oral communication, something more than that, you look at someone and you get that thing. Eyes are the windows to the soul, we used to call it. Why? Because you could learn so much about a person when you can would look at eye contact, the touch, uh, all these things matter, in acting, in writing. So you, the senses, you could use your senses, you could learn so much, you could experience life in a different way. Whether you meditate through transcendental meditation, whatever you do, you can do so much. You can, what you are doing, you are having a great experience in life, and you can channelize all those things into your writing, acting, performance, whatever you do. But you are having that experience, you are enjoying that experience, pleasure and pain, whatever be the thing, you are enjoying that, and you are not imposing it to others. If it is not needed, like as a lesson, if you are not doing that, you don't have to do it to the humanity, right? So you know the good things and the bad things and all these things. But you can be selective also, and you can do the permutations. Well, you can do everything. Like, you are not caring for humanity, you don't care for storytelling, you don't care for art, cinema, whatever be the thing, you can do anything. So selective, and then you are doing permutations and all that stuff. What est illusion? Greatest, I am the greatest, I am the biggest, I am the richest, I am the this and this. When this est comes, and this is not based on something substantial, or the foundation is very hollow or very shallow, then you can talk about the est illusion, and actually you are suffering. But that est illusion is giving you a boost, right? That can be really harmful. So selective based on what? Selective attention you can have. You are not listening, active listening is not there. Somebody is talking about something, you are not listening to that person at all, because empathy, you don't believe in empathy. Selective attention, you're saying something about me, okay, I will fight, something like that. One example, that can be there can be many. Selective distortion, you're listening to something, you're distorting something to convey something, maybe propaganda, maybe you want to make your point, you want to prove yourself, constantly you are proving yourself. To whom? You don't even prove yourself to yourself. There are people like that, they're suffering. But that est illusion is their burden, their marketing tool, so many things. Then selective retention also. I mean, you can enjoy life, you can connect to the cosmos, you can just live your life. Whether you remember something or you don't remember, it doesn't matter. Whether you have a visual memory, whether you have a oral memory, you are very good with the sound, you are very good with the images, you can just enjoy life. And when you are writing, you can remember all those memories, you can write a lot of stuff, great stuff. That's how we write. At least I write in that way. Great experiences I had when I'm writing, I'm focusing, I'm going through different processes, maybe at one place, maybe at a different place, but I'm having all those experiences, and I'm being authentic to those experiences while I am writing those words, those moments, those scenes. Because unless I don't feel it myself, I cannot share it with other people, right? But there are people who don't understand all these aspects because they are in the EST illusion. So, and you get the thing, there are other things as well. But some agencies, or at least it should be, they are brand enhancers. They are making the brands better. You take a organization like Ogilvy made it with a lot of effort, because it's up to the people. You will see a difference of a difference of opinions in the top management, in the low management, or in the mid-level management. When you're talking to the people of the top management, they will understand all these things. Trust, how it is important, the brand, the authenticity, deeply authentic you have to be, the communication matters. Okay, you're looking at the business value, but you cannot play with credibility, because once or twice maybe people will believe you, and they will lose the trust. You can be creative, but you are not playing with credibility. You are not undermining the credibility. People are putting a lot of trust in you, right? That's why those things are important. Brand, they are making the brand better, brand enhancer. But what if you believe and you come up with your worst product, something you have never done before, but you are also going into that loop, justification, rationalization. Okay, why I did this, why I short it in this way, why I worked with that person. Maybe you are going through those processes. I think you can relate to it. If you have gone through all these things, you can relate to it a lot. So you are believing in that brand based on something, maybe market value, maybe whatever you are listening to, a part of part of that industry. Maybe it can be credible, maybe it is credible, right? But you are not understanding the other aspects. So ignorance, selective research, that can hamper a lot of things in the long term. So you come up with your worst product, and even worse, if you don't understand it. As I always say, maybe once in a while, or a few lucky people, they are having friends around you or people around you, they tell you. Sometimes the critics also, they are telling that they are criticizing constructively, they are telling you what is wrong. Maybe their approach can be bad, maybe their tone is bad, but maybe their the way in which they are speaking, that can be bad, but you get the content, right? So these are the things, these are the part of communication, the way you deliver the content, and the content itself, that communication, and the context also. These are important things when you are communicating. So if you don't understand it, maybe for a while you are not having people who can understand all these things. No, there is nobody to tell you. You will do these mistakes again and again, and that fringe will be enjoying, or that particular set of people, they will be enjoying that stuff. That's why you can be your best critic. I always believe that, and I do it myself in that way, and I always believe in that. Maybe many people will agree with me that you can be your best critic. You can have a lot of people, but maybe you are listening to a lot of opinions, but finally you are taking that call. So um, that's why you should be a best critic. When you're doing that, I mean, you are true to yourself. You're not like hampering anything. So and even worse, for them better might be worse, or better can be worse, because what is better to you, and that can be very objective if you are around the right company, the right circle. Maybe that person, as I just said, assumptions, interpretations, connotations, selective and permutation. To that person, that's something better. To me, something is better. To that person, something is better. We are looking at the scenario. The more objective it is, the better it is, right? But there can be some people, it is for them, it can be very subjective. To that extent, better can be worse for them, because they are trained in that way. When they are saying better, they are just using the words, but the meaning of better is worse for them. So you are believing in that, you are coming up with a product which is their worst, which is your worst product. Maybe when you're reflecting, when you're introspecting, listening to all these things, if somebody is telling you, then you are figuring out stuff. Otherwise you are just doing, you're in that process, you have trained yourself for a while, you have trained yourself in that way for a while. So understand all these things, that impact it can have. Now, then why are we doing that? If the brand enhancer is not doing its job, then why people are doing that? Is it reverence? It is respect? Is it trust? Because they are betraying it. Now it is earned. Obviously, it is earned. Trust is earned, respect is earned, reverence is also earned. But they don't understand the value of a teacher. They don't understand the value of value of education. They don't understand what self-esteem means or self-respect means. They just use the words. So wait, can it be earned PR? They are doing always earned PR. They are lying blatantly. Unless you don't know that stuff, they can lie blatantly. There are people like that. They're doing earned PR. Is it bought advertisement, paid PR? They are paying stuff. They are paying the newspaper. They are paying. Now, when I talk about media, again, I will come to the different kinds. It can be TV, it can be print, it can be radio, it can be digital, it can be social media, it can be new media, whatever be the thing. Generally, they are doing it with the traditional media because it is having, again, that kind of demographic, geographic, maybe brand equity they are having. A brand has been built for a long time. They are printing a lot of newspapers. They are printing. They are having great radio channels. They have built that brand with a lot of effort, hard work, trust, people's trust, and these people are just coming with the brand associations. They are telling blatant lies unless you don't know that, and they are giving you a lot of money. So earned PR, bought PR, paid PR, advertisement, association. Is it association the only way, or the only reason? They are just, it's like that. You are having a channel A, or say X. You are having a channel X. Now you are coming with your bhauta, we call it, but pretensions, your lies, whatever it is, your role play, if I say so, in short, your role play, and you are attaching yourself with this, and then you are taking refuge to the celeb status or whatever it is. You are not available, you are very busy and all that stuff. So you are associating with a trusted brand with that role play. Now people will believe it when it is going to the people. People will believe, since this is a trusted brand, and when you are featured in that trusted brand, maybe that thing is real. But what thing is real? That is the role play. You are playing that role. You are not actually that person. Now you understand that role play is established as credible. Say, for example, that particular role play is established as a credible role. Now the actual thing again can be very different. Now the bigger the gap, the worse it is. And if you don't understand it yourself, it can be really harmful for the society, because you're doing stuff you don't even understand. You don't take the responsibility or the accountability. You don't have the sense of personal leadership. You don't have the sense of what I can say, responsibility, sense of responsibility. You're not being proactive, you're always reactive. Somebody will do something and you are reacting to that. You cannot do something, you cannot do an innovation, you cannot do something like that. You're always looking for someone to take an action, then you are just giving your reaction to it. You're stagnant, you're becoming regressive, you're not making substantial progress. When somebody is making something, maybe you could have done that, maybe you have been helped by it, or the similar kind of stuff for a long time, but you have to show something to people, you have to prove a lot to people. Maybe one person is doing it and you are becoming a lot of you are becoming jealous, you are becoming showing a lot of envy, jealous. Maybe you are smiling, but behind the smile, maybe people are becoming very envy and jealous. You couldn't do it, it's okay. You don't have to be jealous. If you need any help, that person might give you help. I can help you also. That's why we are sharing the mail ID. You can just write back to us, you can give us a call, we can have a discussion. But the mindset is wrong. Since that those people cannot help anyone, they can do a lot of smiling, they can do a lot of role play, but ultimately what is happening, they are continuously lying to themselves. So whenever they look at someone, they always think that they are also like that. So that world is as it is, and then the gutter. And they are bringing people to the gutter in different ways with different tricks and techniques, like a crab, you can say. So it can be very harmful. Now, brand association, brand equity, as I just said, that role play can be credible, but not that actual person. And it is, if it is completely opposite, that can be really harmful. And if that person is doing it for a long time, the entire brand is built on that. The person is X, and the role play that is credible, that is X dash.
Understand what I'm saying? So, brand association and brand equity, very important two terms, because that money, that power, I will talk about these things in terms of marketing. The brand can give you a lot of power. You are hiking the prices, you are gaining market share, you are doing a lot of stuff. Um, your customer interaction, everything is based on that. So many other things. I will give you the uh, exact points. I have a slide, I will share it with you. But what if the entire thing is wrong? In the front end, you are seeing everything. In the back end, the research is flawed. So then you're taking your decision based on that flawed research. It can be really harmful. So why are you doing that? It is time pass, it is time waste, or it is just out of ignorance. People are getting like, why are you doing that? I'm asking that question. Is it time pass? Because mostly their mindset is regarding time pass. When the small talks and all that stuff, whatever they do, and this is one thing I want to mention. For people like me, I never thought of coming in front of the camera apart from acting or apart from roles or performances. I never felt the need, because I was mostly behind the camera taking pictures, shooting videos. So I never felt that need, that maybe I should have. And now I think I should have taught a lot in front of the camera to the public, but I didn't feel the need. I respected my privacy. I respected my what I can say, introversion, ambivert. When I'm introvert, I can be introvert. When I'm extrovert, I can be extrovert, ambivert, whatever it is. I can switch. Yet I don't lose myself. So I know all those techniques. Maybe you don't have it, but I have figured it out myself. I have gone through my struggle. I have gone through my processes. I have figured it out myself. Now, that person has a problem with isolation. That person can have a problem with silence. That person cannot live with himself or herself alone. And that person is disturbing you. They just don't understand that thing, that you can be alone and you can be still enjoying, you can be having a great time. They don't understand all these things. They are trying to bring you to a particular group. They are trying to bring you to a particular party. They are trying to bring you to a particular place where you don't have to go to, but maybe out of the courtesy etiquette, you are doing all those stuff, all those things, but you don't have to do that. I have done it. I have done a mistake. That's why I can share it with you. So there are some people like that. Now, I enjoy my quality time, and I know what it is. You don't have to give me the definition of it. I have done it for years. But these people will try to persuade. They will try to use those tricks and techniques, because it's like copywriting for them. They're always trying the copywriting. They're always using those persuasive tricks and manipulative tricks so that you buy something. They're always selling something. They're not telling a story. They're selling a lot of stuff. This that role play, whatever it is, they are selling a lot of stuff. So if you respect your isolation, if you respect your quality time with yourself, respect that. That is very important for writers, for great directors, for great actors. That can be something really great. I mean, we can do so much, and people will benefit from that. Now, that's what we need. So if I talk about all these things, so why are you doing that time pass? Why are you doing that time waste? Why are you living in ignorance, if I say so? Because there is media planning and buying. There is strategic media relations. Now, understand one thing. We don't discuss all these things in terms of tools, as I just mentioned. We discuss something more. What is wrong, how these tools are getting misused. These tools are there, which you can read in the books, which you can go through the courses. While you are going through the courses, you are going to the schools, you can read all the stuff, you can go through all these things, you can do your work also. But when you are going to the field, you are getting market insights, you are getting audience feedback, all these things, and particular different kinds of audience. I'm talking about the world and the gutter also. Then you are figuring out the media and planning and buying that is using in different that is getting used in different ways. Strategic media relation getting used in different ways. Unless you don't know what is in the back, that great research or that thing that is happening, many people are suffering, and they don't even know why. What is the reason? They are And now the trick is they will term it as new reality. You are navigating through the new reality and all those tricks and techniques. But what is the new reality? How did we come to this new reality? Because we came to this new reality, what was the reason? There were maybe there were factors, change agents. What were the change agents? What was the reason? And how we could understand that something was changing? And when we did so, maybe initially it was just like a insight, small insight that something is wrong. Gradually we figured out something was really wrong. Now it took some time, right? Because you didn't believe that was true, you didn't believe that was credible. So what you did, you just made a fool out of yourself during that time. Time pass, time waste, ignorance. But why did you do that? That brand is built. That brand is built out of media planning and buying. Somebody paid for it. Strategic media relations. Mostly, sometimes somebody paid for it or they got fooled, unless they are really doing it in a political way or strategic way. There is a lot of money involved. Then when the society goes in the wrong direction, you are figuring out what is the reason for that. When the education is shattering, you are figuring out, you're looking at the statistics, you're looking at the survey, but maybe nobody told you what were the reasons in the first place for which these things happened. That's why it's so important. Audience as stakeholders. Communication plan to take the marketing challenge. As I said, you're taking a marketing challenge, you're doing the communication plan, you're using media communication, you're looking at the impact on the society. But impact on the society is very important, individually, social level, individual level, and social level, especially the youth, because it is not just a word to be used as a marketing gimmick. You are a hero, you are a youth icon. People are using all those terms very lightly. Maybe some people who are actually the youth icons, they don't even utter that word because they don't have to. They know they are serving the youth, they want to do something to the youth. But the people who want to sell that youth icon thing or that youth thing, that word or the group of words, combination of words, they are desperate to prove it. So it is not just a word to be used as a marketing gimmick. They constitute that indomitable human capital of any nation in the society or humanity. So it is the power of the nation. If they are stagnant, if they are regressive, if they are driven by people who are the content creators, who are influencers, they are also stagnant, they are also regressive. So it is like a, we can have the collective responsibility, we can have collective accountability, we have collective sense of responsibility, because whenever we are eating something wrong, we know that we are eating something wrong. It's just like that, very close also. I mean, something that is not good for the society, but it is made or sold as something good for the society. Unless you don't know that, you're consuming it for a long time. That's why last day I said audience as users, users, consumers, because people are using it as a consumption thing. You're consuming news, you're consuming content, and there is abundance of content nowadays. Who do you believe in? So there are credible sources. You know, when you go to these places, you will get the right kind of content. But there are people you are finding out later, uh, asking questions or going through a process that few of them also were not right. They were trying to sell you something. So real value and perceived value, the gap, how branding gives you a lot of power, that is very important. Because branding, mostly, if I tell you one example, in terms of pricing, just based on brand equity and branding, many people are using a lot of pricing, like high pricing. But you will understand their worth is not that, their actual real value is not that, but they want to create that perception that that is really valuable. But when you look at the content, you know that that cannot be something very valuable for the society or for any individual. But maybe people are selling you something, and you are looking at the statistics, people are paying you this and that. Now, I mean, numbers you are looking at, you are buying that stuff, that it can be something credible, it can be something, maybe I don't know it enough, they know their things. But that is where you are making the mistake. That's why. How do you use it? Again, I say brand association, brand equity, and there are many other things. Uh, we'll talk about brand image, brand relevance, and all these things. We will do one session on brand. I think after 15th, I will do one session on brand. We will talk about different things. Brand resonance, brand relevance. Brand hierarchy, brand architecture. We will talk about all those things, and you will understand so much investment is underway to build that brand. Why? Because of that brand, maybe some people are getting credibility. Something black is getting white because of that brand, and they are making something legitimate, illegitimate to legitimate based on that brand. The pricing is increasing based on that brand. So there are so many other things. You will figure out a lot of things. Audience, user, buyer, consumer. We take all these words very lightly, but you have to take it very seriously. Consumer sentiment, that is getting hurt. But if people are using the excuse of creativity, cinema or acting, whatever it is, then consumer sentiment is getting hurt. You have to understand that individual is getting hurt. I can feel the pain, I can feel the pleasure, I can feel the pain. When that person is smiling, I can feel that happiness also. Empathy, compassion, love, whatever you call it, humanity, loving humanity, you feel it. Consumer sentiment, the consumers are suffering, I feel it. If I can do something, I will do that. These are the things I think we should develop. Otherwise, consumers are very happy. That's just a line. Maybe that is being sold, right? Using a lot of investment, media planning and buying, strategic media relations. That thing was super successful, and that it was not successful. But that is distorting the entire thing, and so many things in the middle. If there is no responsible person who don't understand, I mean, who understands cinema, business, so everything in a very holistic way, society, sociology, anthropology, and all these things, then people can play or with all these things a lot. They can bribe, they can give a lot of money, and they can distort the entire thing in the chain, right? So, can we call them ordinary users, the users who are actually consuming it or looking at it? I mean, we cannot call them ordinary users anymore. The ordinary term, it is not, I think, valid anymore, especially with the advent of digital media and new media. I think ordinary is a word you cannot use anymore. There is a lot of user generated content. Your information is getting used in branding, advertisement, marketing. And you are constituting the space, as I said in the last session. You are constituting the space. You are not passively observing it, rather you are being actively a part of it. So back and forth communication, there is a lot of feedback happening. You are suggesting stuff. Customer journey is there are customer touch points is there, employee relations, stakeholder, everyone is doing it together. Variations of work, variations of jobs, obviously, depending on the roles and responsibilities, and your access, everything. But I think when it comes to data, I think everybody is taking a part nowadays. That's why we have the management information system, we have the customer CRM system, we have all these systems in place with the big data and all this advent of tech, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so many other things. But unless you don't know the fundamental thing, what is the problem, how you can use the data to solve the problem, how you can use the data to look at the problem in a different way, more holistically, how can you solve it, right? So media planning and buying, if I come to the actual thing, you identify and select the media outlets. মিডিয়া আউটলেট আছে, এবার মিডিয়া ওয়্যার এগেন ওই টিভি, প্রিন্ট, আমার রেডিও আছে, নিউ মিডিয়া আছে, ডিজিটাল মিডিয়া আছে, হোয়াট এভার ইট ইজ। আলটিমেটলি কি হচ্ছে, একটা স্পেস আছে ওখানে, সেটাকে গিয়ে আমি বাই করবো। একটা ডিউরেশন আছে, কোনটার পরে কি হবে, কোন টাইম স্লট কি হবে, সবকিছু ওইরকম অনেক কিছু ব্যাপার থাকে। ওয়্যার আছে, ওয়েন আছে, হাউ অফেন আছে, ফ্রিকোয়েন্সিটা কি হচ্ছে, কোন মানে কতবার হবে। একটা সিরিয়ালের মধ্যেই 3 বার হচ্ছে, মানে একটা সিরিয়ালের মধ্যেই 2 বার হলো, আমি দেখছি একই অ্যাড আসছে, তার কারণ কেউ সেটাকে পে করেছে, স্পন্সরস হচ্ছে, সেখান থেকে অ্যাড রেভিনিউজ আসছে, টাকা আসছে মিডিয়াতে। তো সেখানে আমি যদি শুধু টাকার উপরে দেখি, ইফ আই লুক এট দ্য রেভিনিউ অনলি, সেখানে অডিয়েন্সের কাছে কিভাবে আমি হ্যাম্পার করছি। হ্যাম্পার নট ইন টার্মস অফ কন্টেন্ট, নট ইন টার্মস অফ লুকস, দ্যাটস হোয়াট আই এম সেইং। বিকজ ওই একটা যেটা কমিউনিকেশন হচ্ছে মাস লেভেলে, সাবকনশিয়াসলি অনেক কিছু আমরা পিক করি থ্রু দ্য ন্যারেটিভ, থ্রু দ্য রোল প্লে, থ্রু দ্য অ্যাক্টিং অ্যান্ড মেনি আদার থিংস। I mean, you cannot be irresponsible about that also. কাউকে যদি ব্যান করা হয় পুরো অ্যাক্টিং থেকে, হি অর শি শুড বি ব্যান টোটালি। সিনেমাতে অ্যাক্টিং করছে, অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্টে চলে আসছে, বাট আলটিমেটলি ইউ আর মেকিং দ্যাট মাস কমিউনিকেশন ইন ডিফারেন্ট ওয়েজ। These are the things people don't understand. India, they take a lot of advantage of this, but ultimately you are মানে people are suffering. রোল প্লে ইউথের আইকন সেই থেকে যাচ্ছে, রোল প্লে সেই একে মিথ্যার একটা লাইজের একটা ন্যারেটিভ তৈরি হচ্ছে, দেন পিপল আর লাইক ranting, people are lamenting that something is wrong. But you have to understand there are it is happening in many ways, because people are actually people who are actually making it in a wrong way, they really have a good research, they are really investing a lot in it, so and they want to make things happen in a different way. That's why you have to make it right, you have to understand all those nuances, all those subtle variations, you know. So evaluate different options, you can do that. And as I always say, প্রত্যেকটা মিডিয়ামের একটা ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক্স আছে। এখন যদি আমি টিভিতে দিতে যাই, সেখানে আমি যখন একটা ক্রিয়েটিভ এজেন্সি যখন দেখছে, লাস্ট ডে আই থিঙ্ক ফিনিশড উইথ দ্যাট, অ্যাকাউন্ট প্ল্যানিং রিসার্চ একটা জায়গায় হচ্ছে, ক্রিয়েটিভ থাকছে, প্রোডাকশন থাকছে, ওদের মধ্যে কমিউনিকেশন হচ্ছে। প্রোডাকশনটা যখন হচ্ছে টিভির যখন হচ্ছে, তখন টিভির ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক্সটা মেনটেন করে আই এম প্রডিউসিং সামথিং। when I am giving it to the radio, I am মেকিং দ্য প্রোডাকশন বেসড অন দ্যাট, ভয়েসটা আমার শোনা হবে, ছবিটা আসবে না। অনেক সময় এত সুন্দরভাবে টোটাল কন্টেন্টটা তৈরি হলো, ভয়েসটা মানে ছবি ছাড়াও ভয়েসটা কাজ করছে, আবার ছবিটা আসলেও কোনো ক্ষতি নেই। এগুলো খুব ছোট ছোট নুয়ান্সেস যেগুলো আমাদের দেখার। আবার প্রিন্টে যখন যাচ্ছে, সেখানে একটা ছবি থাকছে, এমন একটা ছবি যেটা হয়তো খুব একটা ইভোক করছে ইমোশন, একটা এক্সপ্রেসিভ একটা ছবি থাকছে, একটা ইমোশনাল মোমেন্ট হয়তো ক্যাপচার করা হয়েছে, তারপরে দের ইজ এ রাইট আপ। সো রাইট আপ অ্যান্ড দ্য ইমেজ টুগেদার, ইট ইজ ফর্মিং দ্য এন্টায়ার থিং। দ্য কমিউনিকেশন যেটা হচ্ছে, সেটা ম্যানিপুলেটর যেমন হয়, সেটা একটা অথেন্টিক জায়গা থেকেও আসতে পারে, বা অ্যাটলিস্ট ক্রিয়েটিভ এম্বেলিশমেন্ট নিয়ে একটা কিছু বলা যেতে পারে, একটা ইভেন্ট হয়েছিল সেটাকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করা হয়েছে। বাট কন্টিনিউয়াসলি when it is based on only manipulation, দেন ওই ইভেন্টটা সম্পর্কে ডিস্টর্টেড ইনফরমেশন, সেলিব্রিটি সম্পর্কে ডিস্টর্টেড ইনফরমেশন, সেই সেলিব্রিটি যদি ক্রিমিনালও হয়, that can be a menace in the society, we don't even know, because যদি আমি কাকে বিলিভ করব, that brand equity of that particular medium or the channel or that particular newspaper or that particular কি বলবো একটা টিভি চ্যানেল, হোয়াট এভার ইট ইজ, তাকে আমি বিলিভ করব, নাকি সেই সেলিব্রিটিটাকে বিলিভ করব। অ্যান্ড এখানে অনেক ছুতো আছে। আমি ভেবেছিলাম I thought of drawing a diagram, I will do it after 15th, you will understand it in a better way. মিডিয়াতে একটা স্পেস বট হচ্ছে, সাম দিস পিপল আর বাইং আ স্পেস ইন দ্য মিডিয়া, এবং ক্লায়েন্টের একটা ব্রিফ থাকছে, ঠিক আছে। নাও ক্লায়েন্ট হচ্ছে একটা ইমেজ তৈরি করতে চাইছে, পারসেপশন তৈরি করতে যাচ্ছে, হয়তো পেন পয়েন্ট সে বলে দিল, ইউ আর ওয়ার্কিং অ্যাকর্ডিংলি। নাও মাঝখানে দে আর প্রডিউসিং অল দ্যাট স্টাফ। এবার প্রত্যেকে, ইফ ইচ অ্যান্ড এভরি পার্সন ইন দ্য চেইন is avoiding the responsibility, ultimately it is going to the society, the mass communication is happening, right? So the client is not taking responsibility, it is the job of the like third party. Now এখানেও একটা ব্যাপার আছে, in house it can be, third party it can be, there are different strategic agencies. So I will talk about 5 or 6 agency in the next session, in the other session, when I will talk about all these things in a more elaborate manner, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours it will take, but um, we'll talk about that also. But if each and everybody is avoiding the responsibility, ultimately it is going to the audience, right? So somebody has to take the responsibility. So evaluate different options, you strategize, you schedule and budget, where, when, how often, cost effective reach, that's obviously resource allocation. You are you are making the budget, maybe you are spending this much, you want to have that much reach, you are strategizing, you are evaluating different options. With this cost effective like amount, you can reach a lot of people, and digital media is giving you a lot of opportunities. That's why we do the SEO. There is also one thing, that is white hat SEO, there is a black hat SEO. So the black hat SEO is based on a lot of manipulation. So that's why SEO is there. Organically you are gaining a lot of subscribers, or you are getting a lot of reach, engagement, involvement, and some people are investing a lot, they are buying the engagement hours, they are expanding the reach. So the more you play with all these things, the more you get the insights. So that's a fun part. So media planning and buying, mostly যদি আমি বলি advertisement. So you create a demand for something using creativity. So creativity cannot be a blame and excuse. If something is happening in a wrong way in the society and you are blaming it on creativity, that can be really a irresponsible thing, right? So creativity যেখানে আমি creatively করছি because it's a persuasion হচ্ছে, manipulation যদি থাকে সেটাও in a positive sense, because you are creating something, enticing them to buy, যেটা আমি সেকেন্ড লাইনে বলছি, you are creating it in such a way people are push and pull strategies, and there are so many other strategies in marketing. We will talk about all these things in another session. But using creativity in such a way that people think that they should buy it, the usage of colors, the usage of the pic, but ultimately you are not compromising with the content or that product that is there. Then you are using creativity, it makes sense. When you don't have that, you are using creativity, then what are you doing? You are selling that creativity for the sake of creativity. And what is happening? People are believing in that creative aspect, they are ultimately buying that stuff, and they are getting betrayed. Again you are using creativity, again they are getting betrayed, again you are using creativity, you are getting betrayed. Then you say, this many times people bought it, I am successful. Is it the definition of successful? These are the questions we should ask now. So awareness goal, behavioral goal, sales goal. Now, if you are fudging the data of sales, or you are just focusing on sales at the cost of society or people, even your own employees or stakeholders, then you're focusing only on the sales. Awareness and behavioral goal, if I talk about the society or at individual level, people are learning the wrong things. They are living in ignorance, and you are exploiting that ignorance to sell something. I think that is not a transparent or an honest approach in any business, good business. So strategic media relations, public relations, media relations. Now media can be a part of the public. তো মিডিয়াতে যখন হচ্ছে, media can take it to the public. We can talk to the reporters, media representatives. When we are doing a press conference, we are talking about the press release. But what are you looking for? Credibility, candor, clarity, compassion, commitment. So, commitment, you see that. Beyond the words, you can see the commitment. The compassion, you can see that. The more you understand, the more you play with all these things, you understand all these things. Candor, but credibility is a big thing. If you are buying the credibility, then you can buy anything. Since you have money, you are buying credibility, and people are believing that you are credible using strategic media relations, using media planning and buying. Ultimately, that can be catastrophic. So that is media kit, media brief and audits. I talked about it, and again I will do one session where I will discuss elaborately. Media brief, you're starting with objectives, the planning and all that stuff. You're doing your media briefs, what you want to convey and all that stuff. That should come with deeper research. Media audits, where you're checking stuff. There can be different kinds of audits. It can be a financial audit, you can do a communication audit, how people receive that communication, financially, how you the financial metrics, and so many other ways. But you get an idea, you are doing something with an objective, and finally you are evaluating it. Now if you, the problem is that subset and set. If you look at the numbers only, and that is harming you in the long term, then I think people should intervene. Now what do you buy when you're looking at acting, when you're looking at advertisement? Because as I started with, advertisement can be a role play. For some people, advertisement cannot be a role play, fact and fiction and all that stuff. So what are you buying in an advertisement, in a movie, or in a role? Looks, name or cast, flesh, voice, dialogue, gestures, personality, acting. I think many of you around the world can relate to it, that voice, dialogue, gestures, and flesh, obviously, a bit of looks also. You can relate to it. I have made it bold also. But name and cast is a big thing. I mean, it is such a stupid thing because, again, people are using it as a creative tool. Cast means you are coming from that state or that region, they're using it in that way. They won't tell you explicitly, but if you observe, you will see that yourself. They're putting a lot of focus. I mean, if you are coming from that region, that means you are that region. It is not like that. It is not that subset to set. I can be one sample of the region. If I talk in terms of research, I can be one sample of the population or that region, or the population, uh, maybe diaspora, or maybe that particular region. There can be many other ways, there can be many other variations. Okay, the ideal traits you can find in me, or maybe the worst characteristics you can find in me, but I am not the entire state. But many people are using those games and they are thinking names and caste, then they are talking about caste, gender, race, discrimination. So they are doing all these things and they are blaming all these things. So ultimately it is a clash, it's a conflict. Why? Because they are always stagnant and regressive. They are not making a significant progress. So they don't care about all these things. If you are really doing something significant, you need to take that responsibility also. Otherwise what happens is they will come, they will disturb you, then they will just give you a smile, they will just give you a gesture, they will talk in terms of seniority, they will talk in terms of industry professionalism. But ultimately you understand, you value your time. You didn't have to go through that struggle, you didn't have to go through that party also. So you can choose that. Maybe for social reasons you can do that, but if you have to write a script, you have to write a script. You don't have to go somewhere else. If you have to do an acting process, and if you know that you know it better, a good director will support it. As long as you really know stuff, you can do a beneficial conversation, or you can do a communication yourself with the director, and we will enjoy that, people will enjoy that. But when you are saying that no, I know better than you are not showing that. It is not evident in the communication also, but you will say no, I am better than you. So then there is a clash, there is a conflict. What happened? So continuously you're saying that, I know I am better than you, and you have to make a point. You have to always prove that. Ultimately, I cannot see it in the acting, I cannot see it in the dialogue delivery, I cannot see it in the entire process in any way. But you have to prove it. So I think first you should be very authentic to yourself when you are doing all these things. At least while you are doing a professional job, I think you should respect yourself, or respect that job, respect that profession, respect the field you are in. Then all these things happen very naturally. You don't have to put a lot of effort. When you are putting a lot of effort, when you are putting a lot of investment in it, that means there is something wrong, and you are trying to hide that thing which is wrong. Either you can embrace it, you can accept it, it can give you a lot of power, or you can hide from it for the rest of your life. You can hide from it always. Ultimately, wherever you are going, you are bringing it with you. So you are not hiding yourself from it, but you are showing people that you are hiding from it. But if you accept it, if you make it a tool with which you can give greater performances, or greater songwriting, greater singing, greater anything, channelizing any other artistic and creative profession, then you can do a lot of stuff. You can write great stories, great characters, the dark side, the light side, the heroes and the villains. If I talk about Chris Vogler, you talked about if I talk about Joseph Campbell, the writer's journey, you can look at the arc. There are different people, archetypes. Then Chris Vogler, made it easier. So you can look at all these things and you can relate to it. But if you always want to be the hero, you have to prove that you are the hero. Then you are not looking at the nuances. You are not enjoying the story. Again, selective. So selective. Whatever you are watching, selective. Then clash, conflict. This will go on. So things you can learn, actually the content, the format, the things, what they teach you in the courses, or you can read in the books. You can actually do this stuff. Copywriting, this is not copywriting. This is copywriting is different. When you're writing a copy in advertisement, this is called copywriting. That doesn't mean that you're copying someone else's writing. Maybe for an ornamentation purpose, maybe for a creative purpose, you are just using it, and it is a part of communication. And you cannot make that excuse also, because these people are very silly people. I mean, this fringe, you know so they don't understand those humor, they don't understand that wit, they don't understand where we are using all those things. They are just making excuses, comparing stuff. They're suffering. I feel that suffering, but I wish I could help. I have tried to help, but the thing is, uh, they want to live in that conflict, that chaos. They don't want to come out of it. So wherever they are going, whenever they are talking to someone, they are always finding a way to bring that into that conversation. And you cannot have a constructive or very healthy conversation with these people, because they are always trying to bring that. No matter whatever happens, selective permutation, and bringing a lot of conflicts. Whenever they are going out, away from you, they are using that selective permutation in a different way. Always a sense of envy, jealousy, uh, inferiority complex, sometimes it is coming as superiority complex. So there is a lot of issues. You need to address that. People can help you, but you cannot harm people because of that. That's one. PR stunt, publicity stunt. Now stunt, that actor is doing a lot of stunt. So I do a lot of PR stunt. That means I am like that actor. So these kind of permutations and all these silly comparisons, I think if you really understand that acting, that why that person is doing that stunt, what adrenaline rush or what experience that person is gaining from that experience doing that stunt, maybe that is improvising the acting also, then I think you can be a better actor. But you are doing the stunts just to copy someone else. That is also based on brand, because that person may be having an established brand, but it is not making you a better actor. Then you are giving that person advice, sometimes a wrong advice. It might click, it might not click, because you are just doing the permutation, selective and permutation. So it can be really harmful for great works. I mean, using the brand, it can survive for a while, but if you really want to do great work, I think you need to go beyond all these superficial things. So managed events and shows, a big thing. When you are doing PR, for some people, again, subject to set. PR means only managed events and shows. It can be much more than that. That's why we are just giving you hints. So copywriting, PR stunt, publicity stunt, managed events and shows, a part of PR. There can be many other things. So press conferences, press release, press kit, media kit, what it contains, content writing of a varied range, post-event report. When you are doing an event, after that you can write a post-event report. Even you can communicate a lot with the white papers, through the white papers, annual report or whatever it is. That can be a credible information, and great companies do that. They don't have anything to hide. Financially, they keep their statements public. There are white papers, you can go through that, you can learn the way they do business, the values they are holding. So that's a great thing. So crisis communication, you can do a lot of PR in crisis communication. And then when we come to the writing part, persuasive writing, creative writing, sometimes descriptive writing also. Many people are using narrative in advertisements, so narrative can be a part. So it can be a mix, it can be a hybrid approach, but generally it's like the persuasive communication and a very creative communication using text, symbols, images, semiotics, non-verbal, verbal communication. You are using all those things to create a creative production. It is communicating something. Now when you are doing it very superficially, sometimes it is seen, many, maybe for 30 seconds people are ignoring it, or subconsciously they are picking up few things. But I can tell you that feature writing, report writing, article writing, persuasive writing, these things you can learn. But there are people who are trained in a bad way. I will explain it with a diagram in the next in the other session. I think on 19th, I think I will do that session, which will be branding advertisement in a like elaborate level. I mean, I have created some models, I have created some diagrams, which I will discuss with examples. I think by that time we will have some examples also. So we will do that, like so on and so forth. If any artist could feel things were not quite right in the last few years, you can come from any continent, it doesn't matter. You can come from any region, it doesn't matter. You can come from anything, irrespective of any discrimination. If you feel that things were not quite right in the last few years, I talk about the creative or the cinema or the filmmaking or the artistic industry mostly. You didn't do the right things or the right work, the right kind of work. You didn't feel that thing while doing so. You understand what I'm talking about. You can reach us, you can write back to us. I mean, I will be reading it myself, and it will be totally confidential. You can, the mail ID is given, you can find it here, and you can write back. I just mentioned that when you're talking about really serious stuff, it's better if you mention it in the subject, important, or um, in the subject. Just make sure that you are mentioning a bit of it, so that I can go through it quickly, and I will write back to you. Then we can find out a way of doing communication, and we can just take it forward. And questions you should ask: earned media, is it a fooled media? Because you are giving a lot of trust, and So earned media, is it a fooled media? Is it ulto branding, totally the reverse, totally the opposite, or inverted branding? You can ask. Now paid media, uh, paid, since money is involved and you are richest, biggest, greatest, it doesn't matter. uh, but if it is harming the society, it really matters. So paid media, is it paid, is it because of brand association, is it used as brand association, or why? Brand equity, brand association, paid, and all these things. Owned media, are these traps? Corporate, government, are these traps? I mean, when somebody is owning media, ultimately it comes down to the communication, whether the communication is distorted or not. Now the more aware you are about all these things, or of all these things, the more aware you are, uh, I think the better decisions you can take. The more aware you are, the better decision you can take. And you can look at the media and you will feel, uh, with your research, and if I can help you in any way, I am happy to do so. But with your research, with asking the right questions, you will feel that there might be money involved. Something is quite not right. You know how it is. That's life. C'est la vie. There might be money involved. Something is involved. Perception building exercises, a part of it. That cannot be cinema. That cannot be the entire media planning and buying and strategic media relations. Unfortunately, few people are getting trained in that. To create a workforce, they can do all that nuisance, uh, anarchy, misdeeds, and they will take refuge to the creative thing, right? I mean, ask the right questions, you will figure out, I think. So I will end it here. As I said, I just took a bit more, but try to keep it short. So I will finish it here, and write to me. Write to me. I can talk about so many things, but I think, okay, I will do one thing. Uh, I will write a booklet with models, diagrams, and maybe it will be a 6 to 7 page booklet which will contain different diagrams, models, and a lot of stuff. You can go through that. Then I will do one session more. In between, I can share the booklet with you also, or maybe afterwards, depending on the circumstance. Uh, but overall, you will get an idea of this. I will give you examples. I will give you a few hypothetical examples, few real examples, how the tools were used in this way, uh, from a different perspectives. You can look at it, and then we can figure out stuff. Thank you so much for being with me. Have a great day.